Hello everybody, welcome to the Daily Sip. My name is Oliver and my mission is to make you excited about organic Japanese green tea, and today what we're gonna dive into is why you should filter your water. When you talk with tea heads or tea drinking people who are normally consuming loose leaf tea, they always talk about soft or smooth water, and especially when you talk with Japanese or when you kind of refer to Japanese kind of documentaries or stories, often people say that the water in Japan is extremely soft, and especially in the south of Japan. So the softness of the water is very important. What does this actually mean? So when we talk about green tea, we know green tea is quite a delicate tea, not as strong, for example, as a black tea in terms of flavor. It's much more delicate, fine, there are much more complex notes to it. So the green tea itself demands much more attention as well, and also a softer water which is not covering the fine taste profiles of the tea, which can be very, very broad and very interesting. And that's also a reason why I personally am a big fan of Japanese or in general green tea. So when we talk about soft water, we are often referring to the pH value of the water. When you are taking just tap water, I don't want to talk about, in tap water there you have to filter because there are toxins in it and any kind of health harming materials which could kind of make you sick. We in the Western world, we have good quality water. So when we talk about the water, often it's really an influence on the taste, and it's referred to the taste. So when we go into the taste, we talk about the kind of the acidity of the water, or the basic value or the alkalizing value of the water, and there we're referring often to the pH value. The pH value, normally when you are in kind of a region where the water is quite strongly mineralized, there you can go up to even 8, but normally, for example, here in Switzerland, in Zurich, the water is, I just checked it before, is around 7.8 pH value. But when you're doing green tea, it is often suggested that you use water which is around 6.5 in pH value. So what it's actually, the fact is that the tea which is coming from the tap water is a little bit too strongly ionized. There may be too much chalk in it, or there is too much iron in general in the water. So you have to filter this water a little bit. And what actually works very, very well are the water filters, and they often have a carbon filter in them, so the water passes through. And what happens in this process is actually that the water is a little bit, or kind of a magnesium ions, for example, or calcium ions are a little bit reduced, and there's naturally kind of given a little bit of CO2 into the water. But what is important when you're using a water filter, so this is only a temporary circumstance. So the carbon filter adds a little bit of the CO2, but over time the water loses the CO2 again. So it's not becoming a sparkling water, but it is just adding a little bit of CO2, and this then brings down the pH value and then makes the water softer. But over time this is lost and the pH value of the water goes up. So often people refer, when they do kind of the day before they do the filtering of the water, they have quite a low pH value. It brings it often down. If you have the 7.7 like here, 7.8 like in Zurich, it can bring it down to 6.3 or even to 6. And then you really have a soft water which you can use for your tea, but after the one day, so they leave it overnight and then they remeasure it, and then you are straight up to close to this 8 or 7.8, which the Zurich water is. So what you have to do is, when you filter the water, use it right away. Don't leave it too much in the filter, so the water will go back to its original state of the pH value. So when you filter it, reuse it right away, and this is what I'm doing here. So I will use today Sencha Asanoka. So this is a Sencha from the south of Japan, and I will try it now with filtered water, and I have here the unfiltered water. So I will check the two water qualities, and I really want to see what actually is the taste difference of these two teas when I brew them with a different water quality, once with the more basic and softer water, and ones with the normal tap water. Good, so let's go into the brewing. I give this 1 minute. We use this one here, good. And we're gonna use the filtered water. So this one I pass it exactly through the water filter you saw before. It's a normal water filter. You can buy these for even around $15, $20 in your local stores. You certainly find also cheaper ones, but like the normal, the brand I'm using is Brita, which is this quite a known brand in Switzerland, but I'm sure there are great brands out there which you can use. And then you can test around as well. We're gonna leave it in a little bit more than 45 seconds. So it's a Asanoka Sencha, which is kind of a pretty small leaf tea, so it doesn't need so much. It's not a deep steam tea, so it will not brew too fast, but maximum 1 minute I'll give this tea. So now we're already at the point of trying this one out. As I was brewing this a little bit earlier, I'll take it out a little bit earlier. Both I use 65 Celsius water, which is around 150 Fahrenheit. Good. Good. Et voila. So, now you can see the difference. No real difference already in color. Here is slightly more greenish color. Seems a little bit, now I'm curious about the taste. So let's see what the taste is like. So there's a nice, it's a very nice sweet tea. So I get a lot of flavor. It doesn't mean that when you use tap water, if there's not a kind of a caloric taste or anything, then normally the water still is quite good, giving a good taste to the tea, but it seems nearly a little bit flat tea taste. So it doesn't seem that it is very strong. It's just a nice, smooth, sweet taste. I get a little bit of, so mostly I get kind of sweet, fruity notes. I would say I get a little bit of mango, nearly a little bit of green raisin as well. But normally from the Asanoka I get a little bit of a cereally tone as well. So I'm now curious to see if this cereally tone gets through with the filtered water. Huge difference, huge difference. So only with just bringing it down 1.5, between 1 and 1.5 pH, the intensity of the taste and the complexity of the taste is very different. Well, this one here seems quite flat in comparison to the other. So here, it's quite a smooth tea. There's a little bit of an acidity in the tea. Mainly I get a strong fruitiness. But when I take this one here, much stronger in the savory taste profile. So kind of, it seems that this here is quite, it's nice, it's fruity, it has a good taste, but it doesn't go really deep in the taste. It seems a little bit flat. And when I use the filtered water, it really goes deep and brings a huge complexity in the taste. So it goes much more profound and much more kind of broad as well. I get a little bit of an acidity, a sweetness, a savoriness. While here it's playing only around the sweetness and this kind of savory taste profile. I really don't get it that much. Yeah, it's nice, but it's kind of, it develops, you can feel develop the tea, but then it kind of abruptly stops and then it's finished. It's very strange in terms of kind of, it seems like the tea doesn't finish its taste, while with this one here, from the beginning, it's much more development of the taste, much broader, much kind of different taste profiles. Also in the rest, I get the tingling after I'm drinking, the kind of this resting of this umami flavor, this savory taste profile. It really stays longer in the taste of the tea. So definitely a huge difference between the first brewing of these two teas. But now let me just make a second one. So I just put these brewings aside, and then I'll do a second one. Good. Let's dive into number 2. Number 2 filtered. No, this was unfiltered, and here is the filtered. Good. Just get everything out. Et voilà. Here as well, try to get everything out. Et voilà. Good. Color. Similar. But I really want to give the unfiltered water a fair chance. I used a little bit less water for the filtered one, so I just add it up to the same level. And voila. Now swirl it a little bit. Good. Now, unfiltered. Still very smooth, but it still has kind of this weak note to it. Second brewing of the filtered water. Yeah, it's clear. It's a clear difference between these two. So I really get it from the side of the kind of a flat aftertaste, especially kind of in the beginning they seem kind of similar, but then in the aftertaste this develops really in a broad, fine note of fruitiness, a little bit of the cereally tones, a little bit on the tingling on the top of the tongue. Well, this one here really stays kind of flat and doesn't develop that much. So it gives much more depth to the tea taste, makes it much more interesting, much more the delicate taste notes and the savory taste notes especially, they get much more through with this one here. So I must say it really is true that when you're using unfiltered water, even when you also get soft water, and Zurich is actually known for having quite soft water here in Switzerland, so it is not bad water with its 7.8, but finally it's still weakening the taste of the tea. So for green tea, I really suggest you the tea, or to filter your tea with anything. Mostly you can buy these in every supermarket, so they're very easy to find. They're not really there to liberate the taste, kind of the water from toxins, but they can definitely reduce the pH value, which then softens the water and gives your tea more flavor. Good, I hope you like this one too. And if you ever have a question, do not hesitate to ask me. Please leave a comment, anything if you like, and I'll be happy to answer them. So happy to have had you. Thanks a lot, and see you, and bye bye.